Welcome to the Navic Gaming Podcast, where it is our mission to explore the business and future of video games. We bring together the industry's brightest builders, investors, and thinkers to keep a pulse on current events, dissect emerging trends in games, share lessons learned, and have a great time. This podcast is also part of Navic's growing ecosystem, which ranges from free and premium research to consulting and advisory services. For more information, visit www.navic.co. This episode is brought to you by Lightspeed Venture Partners. Lightspeed is a globally leading venture capital firm with over $29 billion in capital under management and more than 500 investments across the US, Europe, and Asia. With its dedicated gaming practice, Lightspeed Gaming, the firm is investing from over $7 billion in early and growth stage capital, making it by far the largest fund focused on gaming and interactive technology. Lightspeed's team combines deep expertise in gaming with a global multi-stage investment platform and a culture that truly puts founders first. Selected investments include Epic Games, Snap, and Stability AI, as well as game designers and producers who led the creation of titles like Fortnite, Call of Duty, League of Legends, Valorant, StarCraft 2, and many more. For more information, simply go to gaming.lsvp.com or check out the details in the show notes. This episode is brought to you by Overwolf. With over 1,500 games supported, 178,000 creators, and 113 million monthly active users, Overwolf is the guild for in-game creators. Whether you're a gamer, creator, or game studio, Overwolf is the ultimate destination for integrating UGC into games. For game studios, Overwolf offers CurseForge for studios, a white label solution that lets game makers and publishers easily integrate mods safely and seamlessly into their games, both existing and new, at zero cost. It's battle-tested by AAA studios and games including Krafton with Inzoi, Studio Wildcard with Arc, Take-Two Interactive, and others. Alongside this, Overwolf is the all-in-one platform that enables creators to build, distribute, and monetize in-game apps, mods, and game servers. In 2024, Overwolf paid over $240 million to in-game creators, proving that they truly value the talents and contributions of the gaming community. You can check out all Overwolf has to offer at overwolf.com or simply check out the link in the show notes. Now, let's jump into the episode.
Welcome to the Navic Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, Kalie Moore. Today's episode is about what it takes to break into one of the most unforgiving categories, consumer hardware. For more than 2 decades, the console market has been defined by the same 3 players, with very few newcomers managing to break through in any meaningful way. And yet, last year, a startup focused on families with young kids quietly did just that. Nex Playground is often described as the modern successor to the Wii or Kinect, but that framing only captures part of the story. What makes Nex interesting isn't just motion-based play. It's how the company rethought who gaming hardware is for and what parents actually want from screen time. And in a year where console sales overall were down, Nex captured a meaningful share of US sales, expanded into thousands of retail stores, and sold more than 650,000 units, all while positioning itself as kid-safe and a family-first platform. My guest today is David Lee, who's the CEO and co-founder of Nex. While Nex may look like an overnight success, it's actually the result of nearly a decade of iteration, pivots, and some hard-learned lessons. Along the way, Nex developed a very clear mission: to be a force of good for families, combining physical play, trusted IP, and a business model built around long-term engagements. Today, we're going to talk about Nex's origin story, the risks behind its biggest pivot, what it takes to launch a new console in today's market. And we're also going to look ahead into what's coming next, from international expansion to new forms of play, and what David hopes Nex will mean to families 10 or 20 years from now. It's my pleasure to welcome David Lee, CEO and co-founder of Nex, to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. So I've known about you guys for a while, but I wanted to reach out after I saw a feature that you guys did in the Wall Street Journal, which detailed you selling 650,000 units last year. And I know everyone kind of thinks about you as an overnight success, but really came across in that article was how you've been building this for over a decade. Can you start by walking us through the original thesis behind Nex and how it evolved to where it is today?
Sure. Wow, it's been a long time. Um, it started with I left Apple 2017 and started Nex. And at that time, um, have been spending a decade in productivity applications. Just want to do something different. I love basketball. So where I start, well, let's just do something. So the first thing that we did was Home Court, a basketball training app. And the mission at that time is, quite simple. It's like, hey, we want to do something that's useful and joyful for basketball players. So the mission at that time is utility and joy for basketball players. And as we continue to evolve, and COVID happened, and we found that we have actually more role to play. And even within, basketball, we start, doing something incredibly difficult, which is tracking basketball shots. So you set up a camera on a tripod, pointing at a basketball court. The camera recognizes the hoop, recognizes the ball, recognizes the line on the ground, and knowing, oh, there's somebody shoot the ball, and tracking big miss, and tracking all these advanced statistics around it. So this is the first thing we do. Like spend 2 years on it, and unlocking pretty amazing technologies to make it happen. And we say, hey, this is great, but this is also a very niche application. So we begin expanding and try to take care of like other aspect of what the basketball players would need. Then we can track their dribble. We can teach them how to dribble a ball well. We can track how they move the body. We can check their like agility and great activities that make that boring training more fun. So this is basically, we have expanding Home Court app to now tracking you shoot a basketball in a basketball court, tracking you dribble a basketball, tracking you like just move and jump and do things where like, train your footwork. That's actually how we get started. And then pandemic happens, and we thought, wow, nobody play basketball now. And then the app would tank, and the reverse happened. We have a really viral moment in Home Court, but the people coming in use Home Court are not basketball players. They just want to have something fun to do when they also cannot really play outside. So the part of Home Court app that gained the most traction is the interactive training games that don't require basketball. So we say, okay, well, we take that out. We create an app called Active Arcade. So the mission of Active Arcade is to transform activity into play. So like things that are a little bit boring, things that are a little bit more like, hey, how to move, but we make those things games. And that's what Active Arcade is, to transform activity into play, make training activities like more fun. So that's basically what Active Arcade is. And Active Arcade went viral again. It's still in the pandemic. And what then happened is we look at Active Arcade numbers, like millions of downloads, hundreds of millions of play sessions. And we look at the retention numbers, and we find that the retention number of iPad is 3x the phone. And the when anyone connect the phone or iPad to the TV, the retention is 10x. So it's just give a signal that we're building for a wrong platform. That the beginning of us trying to get into TV and take on the mission to connect family and friends through active play. So that's multiple iteration, multiple pivot, but I think our mission stay remarkably consistent.
Those are really amazing stats when you move to a bigger screen. So is that really where the transition, because both of the products before were mobile, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So Home Court started as mobile because you cannot, what compute device you have to take to a basketball court. So at that time, we start with the phone, and we're right at the beginning of, on the edge AI processing. That was the time, 2018 was the time Apple 10x the processing power to process, like do AI inference on the edge. So the what modernly called the neural processing unit, the NPU. Apple have another term for that at the time called Apple Neural Engine. So that was the first time when like there's a real AI processing power on the phone. So we leverage that to do on-the-edge AI processing so that when you take the phone, put it on the side of the basketball court, it has a lot of processing power to understand what's going on in front of camera. We start in mobile, and mobile is a great platform that has great processing power, really flexible. So we can do a lot there to start. And obviously, when we now did figure out our consumer hardware, while people willing to pay for $1,000 phone, like family may not willing to pay for $1,000 like a game console, right? So we need to figure out like making the right trade-off for the cost and performance to create something that like right at the right price point for families to adopt.
And I want to go back because now I think in hindsight, it's such a tidy story, right, of how you pivoted during COVID. But it must have been incredibly stressful time because these were huge pivots. What did it feel like while you were building on the fly? Did you immediately think that, of course, this is our next step? Like, was it one of those aha moments, or was it scary along the way?
Oh, it's extremely scary. I give you a few, defining moment of Nex. So when you keep building home court, and we think, yeah, this will be great for all basketball players, and there's so many basketball players out there. Like we count 450 million basketball players worldwide. But if you kind of really go back to it, like how many people would take a phone, go to a basketball court, and do shooting practice, and be serious about making every shot? And that's actually very few people would think like that. Very few people, very niche. What we find is that, hey, is really the player who want to play a next level basketball, would want to do this. Like the middle school kid want to get into a high school team. The high school kids want to go into college. So it's pretty small audience. And when we talk to our users and talk to hey, how many people are like you? And then when our user would find that I remember talk to a dad that have a daughter who love our app. Yeah, that's not any kids like her. As okay, that we have very niche, serving a very niche audience. And when we kind of pivot into, hey, we should find our bigger application for what we created, and say, hey, we should apply to games. And there was a moment that the whole engineering team, sit down, and a lot of them ex Apple. So when I left, a bunch of Apple engineers left with me, and and then, hey, the best way to deliver better experience to our users is to basically use technology to make games. And is there anyone have made games before? Everybody shook their head. Okay, we start learning Unity today. So the whole team just all of a sudden, you know what? Let's commit to that. It was scary. It was, we're doing something that we have not ever done before. It's scary, but it's also exciting. So those are some of the defining moments of a room full of engineers. Just on the table. Let's do it now.
In the Wall Street Journal article, an investor of yours was quoted, which you often hear, I think, from the best investors, is that they bet on you and the team, and they knew whatever that you were going to do was going to be a success. Do you feel most of the investors that you worked with were in that camp, or were there a couple of holdouts that thought entering the hardware market was insane?
Well, that's certainly nearly everyone thinks it's insane. And we have some exchange with investors. Wow, how are you guys doing this? But is that when the investor invests in a startup, you're actually trusting the founders to do the right thing. And And what an investor can really do in the early stage, we still finding product market fit, can only be providing advice and cheering on the sideline for the most part, really. And obviously, if when the company need more resources, they may be in a position to provide more resources. They may make introductions to help the startup as well. But at that time, when we kind of go into hard ways, it's extremely difficult to raise another round of funding. It's just extremely difficult. We were a little bit lucky during the COVID time when a number like, wow, there's a 40x growth there. And some of existing investors look at that growth and say, hey, like nothing grow like this and don't have a real product market fit somewhere. So go find it. So I remember at that time, and I just tell, hey, yeah, thank you for the belief in us. I don't know how to make money with this yet, but I will try to find it. So that was the Nex Playground. Actually, eventually, what was found at the end of that like growth and go to Active Arcade and kind of find something that actually a real meaningful product market fit. Because after Active Arcade, we tried doing mobile games, and it's still okay, but not really anything major traction. Mobile is a wrong platform, as we can find out in all our numbers. So for us to really build deep relationship with the customers, to really serve them well, we need to get into the living room space. There was a time, and I also remember, I spent 2 years finding the 65-inch iPad. I said, like, who have a 65-inch iPad I can build for? Basically, it's the TV, but the TV don't have enough processing power. And it's a set-top box, and we have partnerships with that. We talk to all TV manufacturers, all set-top box manufacturers, all the SoC behind them. They see like things that start turning the corner because they want more AI on the edge and all that. So we see the possibility, but we end up, the perfect platform doesn't exist. So we end up building our own. And Nex Playground is essentially the last bet. If Nex Playground failed, Nex would fail 100%. And we only have resources to create the first 5,000 units. But this also a defining moment for the company as well. I remember at that time, I told the team that, there's only one objective for the company. Only one goal is to make sure the first 5,000 users who got Nex Playground would love the product. And that's how we spent the entire 2023, basically from zero of just concepts to shipping the first 5,000 units. And that was a defining moment. But even after that, you sell 5,000 units, so what, right? And raising money even after that is extremely, extremely difficult. I got so many no's in my life in 2023 and 2024, and 2025. Yeah, I lose track the count already. But we managed to make it through.
That's wonderful. And I want to talk a little bit before we dive deeper into product about how your mission has evolved as the product's evolved too. I know your mission is to do good for families or to be a force for good. I want to hear a little bit about what that means to you personally and as a company.
Well, it started with the love of basketball. I love basketball and do something that's like related to that sport. And as we go, we have users, real users, and we will talk to them. We understand their needs, understand how we build better for them. It's more like that you in that process, you start building the empathy, building the connection with the users, and keep finding how you serve them better. Discovering other problems they might have and how we can help them there as well. And I'm also have 2 daughters. And if I look back in my journey building Nex, I can see their fingerprints all over my product. And they usually are the one who would test something new that we're building. And from the reaction to that, I also learn a lot as well on how to create joyful, meaningful experience. in a lot of cases that when our customers start to kind of see it, taste it, and I can see that, I see that with my daughter before. Sometimes it's just like give a lot of validation of what we're doing. And, life is a pursuit of happiness, right? So sometimes it's just, stay true to yourself and, how you interact with customers, how you interact with families, and want to do good thing for them. And I'm a parent, and, I can totally see after my first daughter is born, and the center of gravity just shift to them. And I think that is both parents feel the same, and you want the best for them. And we build a product that is like really carrying that love for the next generation.
How old are your daughters now?
They're 14 and 9.
Wow. I also have 2 daughters, which is actually when I came across your product well before the Wall Street Journal stories. I was looking for something that didn't involve too much screen time. Mine are younger, 6 and 2. I want to talk a little bit about the product. So, in a lot of press, I think, to set the stage, I've seen journalists who are describing Nex Playground and like how it compares to the Wii or Kinect. And I want to talk about what you've learned from previous motion platforms and what you're doing that's completely different than the platforms before.
Yep. So there's a few things really different. I always say that we are standing on giant shoulder. So we are not the first to build motion games, and we and Kinect built it before, using different technologies. Like we using the sensors on the controllers, and Kinect use our pretty complicated camera system like depth camera and IR, and then later they use like the time of flight sensors as well, to basically track motion. The technology that we're using now is basically AI, is on our RGB camera connecting to our AI capable chip. We process the video and understand motion in real time. So in a way that the technology is a lot simpler. So that is also, I think, would be the more ultimate form of technology as well, because it's just the AI, just everything is software. You just evolve the software, evolve the model, and it become more capable, being able to understand more. And I think in a form that is like the technology is better, it would be a little bit more ultimate form of technologies.
To kind of dive into my next question is, the other platforms we've mentioned have had issues with longevity. Where do you see that being different for Nex? Is it just in the technology, or is there something else?
There's more to it, and I want to kind of cover those to answer your previous question with like 2 more points, which is second one is important, that we have a different business model. We have a subscription-based business model, and this is a wonderful model. And I think it's the core behind like our continuous investment in content. So we are not leaving it to like, just build an open ecosystem for people to kind of build games on it. We say, hey, this is a service, and we are dedicated to serve families for a long time. And with that, with a subscription model, every year we actually come back to the market with a better product, because you keep building. And every year for 3 years in a row, 4 years now, that would basically keep increasing our production budget. And then with all the learning that we have with families, and how we can make it better. Is it improving technology, getting to more content, like trying something new that have not been tried before. So in a way that we, through the process, understand what our users expect, what our users like, what our users want, and keep building more and keep surprising them with new things. So this works because we're not thinking about like individual games. We're thinking about a complete solution to the family who want to stay active, who want to have connected moments. So and then it becomes basically a 5 view, so that we can keep going back to the market with a better product. Imagine kind of back in the days, if this is like a platform with individual game purchase, like the product doesn't really change much. Yes, you have bigger game library, sure. But for the same price, for the same price, what you get is largely the same. But for the same price that you spend on Playground, for the first year, you get access to the entire game catalog. It's very different. And if you're convinced that we do good for you for 1 year, we hope to earn a customer for another year. That sustainable business model is absolutely critical for how we think about longevity. And the third point is also important of on the longevity thing is I think the other company, I'm just looking at the result, I would not be able to speak for their strategy. Looking at the result is the other two company could try, basically collectively, decided motion game is not what their customer want. And we don't have their customer. So we build motion games for the customer who want them the most. And we come here with years of experience interacting with these people on different platforms. On a mobile platform, we understand why they want it, what do they want, and now we just come in to create a better product to serve them. So our focus on kids and families is something that will differentiate us. So because we're kids and family, we first start with how we make it safe, how we protect privacy, how we make it very secure. So those become fundamental pillars of how we build things up. And when you look at the whole ecosystem, it's just really different from what being tried before. And I would love to kind of do it in the right way and keep improving our solutions to serve the needs that are timeless. That's how we think about longevity.
So I'd love to dive into the privacy and safety side of things a little bit more. I know there's other platforms different than hardware that are geared toward kids that are having a lot of safety issues out there right now. And I think as a mom, it's definitely something I think about when thinking about introducing my 6-year-old to gaming. The lack of screens was definitely one part of your product that really appealed to me as a mother. I'd love to hear a little bit more about how you guys are thinking about safety, children's safety especially, and what you're doing to prioritize that aspect.
So that is a foundational promise to our customers, not non-negotiable. So we think about that first. We know that we are literally at the center of the living room. The device have a camera on it. And building that trust is of number one priority, non-negotiable. So how we do that? First is a closed ecosystem that we do not put a browser. We are not allowing third party to make games for it. We control everything from the bottom up. So that's basically no way to get in. That's how the product is secured, because we have foundation, have a secure OS. We have curate all content, all games that go into Playground is created by ourselves and our partners, and we audit everything. So number one is just to make sure that that is secured, curated content, and also no video go to the cloud. So it's all on the edge processing. We're not sending any of those data to the cloud to store there. So we everything is local. So if you disconnect Wi-Fi from the device, all the game continue to work. Obviously, there's some leaderboard thing that to connect to the internet for that, but largely the game work locally. So that's how we do the privacy and security. And think about safety is just curated the content and thought through every single thing for our customers, and listen as well, because when we put games out there, and easily the games have hundreds of thousands of players. So there's a lot of feedback come back in, and we make sure that we adjust those feedback. And over time, we learn to how to hit that right, off the gate. But there's a lot of learning that we have over the course of many years of how we design great experiences and safe experiences for kids and families.
Well, it's very refreshing when tech CEOs think about safety as a non-negotiable. And this is a perfect segue into, I wanted to talk to you about games and licensing in particular. So I know that you've had big IP. A favorite of my daughter is Bluey. And so I wanted to talk about how you think about that kind of licensing of IP versus investing in original franchises. And I know you said your games are fully first party, like that's part of this security and privacy. But do you expect that to change in the future? Do you ever see a world in which you introduce games by third party developers?
So we do have what we call second-party developers. So we cannot do everything. Yes, Nex have free internal game studios, and we make both original IP games and licensed IP games. We also have studio partners that we are really great, and we are borrowing their superpower to make great games for the platform as well. But this we call it second party. We don't have open app store. We do not open it up for everybody. And mostly because I think we still want to kind of have curate our content lineup, and also what would be the great experiences for our customers as well. So how we react to those needs and how we plan and how we doing what's right and doing what's exciting as well. We can also limit resources. We can also not do everything. So we need to be prioritized and select. And regarding our licensed IP, we are certainly very excited to have many partners trust us with their beloved brands. And I think we create one of the things that is a new platform, and it's also want to be completely safe and private and secure. So that's our number one thing, and it really aligned with what the brands want to do. So when Bluey think about their game, we said, why would it would be great for our players to really play keepy uppy, really jump to lift up all the balloons, right? Yes, you can play keepy uppy at home by just having all the balloons, but you can hardly have 100 balloons up there. So with digital, we just have a little more flexibility to just simulate many different situations. And I think creating unique experiences for the brands is one of the ways why brands want to come onto our platform. And the mission alignment there is also very significant. And obviously, we also invest in original IP as well. I think both licensed IP and original IP have a role to play on the platform. Original IP, we can certainly explore something very new. Some have not been done before. And yeah, so it's a good balance of how we invest in the content library with both licensed IP and original IP, and deliver great experiences for the customers. So licensed IP also have a lot of credibility and a lot of built-in audience as well. So we also kind of leaning on the superpower of licensed IP to bring audience in.
Can you tell me about some of the most popular experiences right now?
Yep, for sure. Our most popular experience right now in the moment on the platform, which is a surprise, honestly, is a game that we developed last year. It's called Builderama. So Builderama is, you can feel like is our Snapchat-like filter on a big screen, and 4 players can play at the same time. So it's just our fun moment, which we had keep rolling out new filters. And some of these is just encourage kids' creativity and how they do certain thing they want. It's just it's fun. It's just a filter, and kids will just run wild in doing things. There's some filters is for imagination. So one filter, when you open your mouth, fire breathing out from that. There's some filter where you would charge your electricity in your hand, and then you can release it you have control electricity. That's one filter, which is the most popular one, which I still thinking of why that's so popular. it's just what they call twin. It's just like a how do you call it? Basically overlapping two video. One video is just like 5 seconds before, and then you have a twin. So when you will move around and you can see actually you have your image 5 seconds before, and you feel like you can playing with your twin and doing something with him. And it just unlock kids' imagination of like how they think about things, and it's just like I don't know, is it even a game? But we just discovered that, and like people love it so much. The second most popular experience is a game called Starry, and it's a music rhythm game. And we convert your body, to the screen live, and we give you instruction to dance. So arrows coming in, you can move according to the arrow and put your hand in the right place, lean your body in the right place. And what's amazing of that game is we see a lot of sharing of that game happen, is parents getting proud of their kids, because it's hard. Music rhythm game is hard. And when a kid can, wow, my 5 years old can do that, it feels like that we created a bicycle. And a parent feeling proud of their kid, now they can ride a bicycle. And they did not expect, because I'm so surprised when I see my 5 years old daughter at that time, getting all perfect. It was wow. And that is and we have that. And now my younger daughter now is 9. And now a lot of parents now experience the same thing. And sharing in the social media is I did not expect my daughter can, or my son or daughter can do that. And yeah, so it was great. And how parents and kids experience growth, and getting proud of themselves, getting proud of their kids. So that's our second most popular experience.
That's sweet. I think the bicycle analogy was really perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to switch gears completely. And of course, when I was doing research, I check out a lot of your Substack articles. And one of the things that you mentioned, which I really loved, is that your role as CEO has shifted from building the product to building the organization. You've listed out a lot of the values on your Substack. And I wanted to ask you about how you describe your culture as being different from others. And then if there's any hard lessons that you learned that went into creating any of your favorite values on the list.
Yeah, so we talk about Nex culture as culture of fun. So when we pivot into building games, we do a lot of study of what is fun. And we dive into all this study about what make a fun game. And we in everything actually pointing to a similar direction. Is a fun game involve autonomy, mastery, and connections. If we can adopt that to be our culture as well. So to make things fun, we want to adopt the culture to fun. That in a company, there's a lot of autonomy, that the decision you make matter. You have a lot of influence. And mastery is you get better and better at what you do. And connection is basically building empathy with our customer, building empathy with our partners, building empathy with the colleagues, to make things together. And all pointing towards a clear mission of what this company do. So I think this is what define. We know the why, and we are building a culture around the future, the culture of fun, of a culture that value autonomy, connections, and mastery. And if you think about what is my favorite, most important thing is we always go back to hey, this is why we do what we do. And in a lot of things, it's just reinforce that, because once you know the why and the how and what, there's a lot of creativity around that. And that's why in a lot of things we celebrate our users. If you look into our the Playground story series, we celebrate the users. We celebrate what we do for them. Is deeper, is more meaningful, and how we can become something great for families. So and we always point to that and share. This is why we do what we do. Sometimes we just share a piece of reviews. Sometimes is how users describe the product in social media, and knowing our why and keep iterating on our why is very important. So we always start with why. That's my favorite part, and that's also my role as well.
Great. So I know you've expanded pretty rapidly. I think you have, and correct me if I'm wrong, 120 people across multiple countries now.
Yes.
How do you preserve that sense of kind of shared ownership and connection as you scale, especially in multiple locations?
And occasionally we bring them together. So we host town halls in both US and Hong Kong, I think every few months. And it's important to gather the team occasionally and reinforce some of those values. Like, we keep repeating signs of the broken record, but it's important to keep repeating or finding out different ways to say the same thing. Find different ways to share like how that manifests itself into the word that we use, the thing that we do, and using different ways to basically just talking about like the culture and cultivating that is extremely important. I have for all the game studio, I have weekly sync with them to be involved in their work, and yeah, the daily, the weekly interactions, and I spend a lot more time in like writing blog, and creating videos as well. So it's important that we continue to believe in the same thing. And obviously, if the business is doing well, it's just the natural gravitational force of the business that is growing is certainly critical. And with the communication of like why we do what we do, with the communication of the culture, like to the external world, and also would have people would self-select themselves to be joining the company as well. So it's kind of how we maintain the culture, how when we grow, we keep the culture, because the right people got attracted to join this mission. It's obvious when people we hire come to the, hey, I read your blog and I know what you're doing, and share their own personal story of why this matters to them. And that's how I know I have a great hire.
It's wonderful. It sounds like you're doing a great job when it comes to scaling and finding team members that fit into the mission. I jumped over one area that I think is really important before I want to get to your growth and what's next. I didn't ask you about distribution. One of the things that I thought was so interesting is you've had crazy sales. We've already talked about them this year. You're in over 5,000 like physical stores, all in the US, right?
Yeah, well, we are also in Canada as well. So we have some stores in Canada, and combined, I think we're close to 6,000. But yeah, we are in physical stores, and we are proud of what we are doing with our retail partners. It's important that we sell physical product, and that need to be placed that for people to try it. Then it replace, let's say, wow, it works, it works wonderful. So we created a retail demo fixture that is in thousands of stores. Not all stores have them, but in thousands of stores actually have them. We are in, I think we have live demo fixtures in 1,500 Walmart, nearly all Targets, all Sam's Club, and 1/3 of Best Buy. And we keep growing and expanding as well. When the space become available, we would work with our retail partners to put a fixture there. The sales actually much better when we have something live there. So this is like a welcome addition to the store. Also something that the guests of the store can try experience and have fun. And I remember in the month of December, our retail fixtures collectively did roughly around a million demos.
Wow.
So it's a lot of demos like done, and then user get to experience that. And there's something is important that is, getting people to try it, building trust. So I think it's continue to be a very important part of like how we, interact with users and enter their decision making process of like, should I buy this? So that is a wonderful way to do it. And obviously we have a lot of users like sharing their talking about a product. Word of mouth is going to be the most important. I think number one thing is like I heard from somebody that have the product and they have a wonderful time with that. And the retail fixtures are another way that how we interact with some future customers.
Can you share roughly what percentage of sales come from being in retail stores?
So I don't know where we can share these numbers, but like I think we have a substantial portion of the sales going through retail channels. I think in a normal week, more than half of them coming from physical retail.
Okay, now I want to ask you about plans moving forward, because obviously 2025 was a banner year for you guys. I want to ask you about what does the next phase of Nex Playground look like? What are you excited about for 2026?
There's a few things I'm like certainly very excited about. The first is our content roadmap. I'm continue to be very excited about our content roadmap. Like last year, Bluey said, "Wow, like is it a peak year already for us?" Then basically the number one kids IP come onto our platform, and this year look at that. Wow, we have something like also very amazing, very exciting, and we'll be full of surprise this year. So that's the number one thing that I cannot talk about like a lot of partnership yet, but like I'm genuinely excited about our content roadmap. Not only that we have new games, we also doing more to existing games as well. So the games that is loved by our current users, we are investing more to make that game even better. So I can say Starry going to receive a big revamp. We have a big update for Tennis, Smash, and TMNT, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles shipping soon. So not only new games, existing game would also get a lot of love. And I'm excited about that iterative process of working with users and trying to make the game better for them. So very excited about that. So that's first. Second would be we call it connected families, and how you can securely connect family to family, and how we enable play safely, privately, securely with the family you love. So how we bring family closer together, even they are like hours or or even ocean apart. So we want to our mission is to bring family together, and we intentionally curate in the living room, bring the physical family living in the same house, all friends together in that place. But we also think about how we can do that for families that live apart as well, pretty far away as well. And the third, we also would be beginning our internationalization effort. So we'd be like internationalize and localize so that we can begin to expand to other markets and serving more customers. And as we serve them, we also bring in the culture, the IP, and when we bring that to the library, it just like have that like cross-pollination and get our existing user experience different thing as well. So we are planning entering Japan 2027, but this year we start how we work with local IP, like local developers, to start bringing IPs and games onto our platform to get ready for the launch. So extremely excited about, doing all of that.
It's really exciting. And then just audience-wise, I know we've talked about this being a console for families. And we've also said of young kids too, right? Which is one of the reasons I really liked it. But I'm curious, are you also interested in how do kind of families and kids grow up with Nex Playground? Like what that looks like? We hear people talking about kids aging out of Roblox. Where do they go? What are your thoughts on your audience growing up?
Yeah, so we are playing, it's going to go back to kind of what kind of roles that we play for families. And is understanding that is important. And because this is defining how we think about what kind of game that we're creating. So first, we are what we call outdoor sidekick. Outdoor is great. And you have great physical activities or go outside, touch grass, 100% probably one of the best way to have active play experience. But sometimes outdoor is not available. In a big part of US right now is a snowstorm. People stay at home. Sometimes it's too cold. Sometimes it's too hot in the summer. Maybe it's just raining outside. So we create things that that like kids can stay active at home, right? We're looking at what we call it timeless consumer needs, like needs that will not go away. The need basically to move indoor is one of those. The needs to stay connected, creating this moment, like, how about a game of bowling? Family game night. So we know that some of the places that we're serving is how bring family together. And we talk about growth as well, right? How we play a part in get kids more ready for sports. So building interest, building confidence, building skills in like basically building a ladder for them to play sports for in real life. And that is how we find a role that we do constantly playing for families when kids grown up, because some of these things that family want to do, the needs to stay active, the needs to stay connected, the needs for growth, need always there. And when kids, also go to school, we think about how health and fitness for parents and grandparents too. So we keep finding like pockets of needs that we can be serving, our users, and keep building, fun experience. Also, I think the need to have fun, the need for joy, and for the medium, which is games, sometimes apps, like how we can serve those is better and better.
All right, David, I have one final question for you. When you think about Nex in 10 or 20 years, what do you hope that families say that it meant to them?
We want to always go back to the timeless needs that we are serving. How we bring movement, connection, growth, and joy to families. And 10, 20 years, a lot of things would change. We don't know what AI would do to us. But they are fundamental human needs that's not going away. And we want to kind of serve those needs really well and to make ourselves essential to families. Something the integral part of family life, something that is, really permanently earn its place in the living room by serving those timeless consumer needs that never goes away. And when we orient ourselves towards that, and we just think how we can do it better and better and better. And we keep adapting, keep on the right path, keep surprising and delight our customers.
That's a perfect one to end on, then. Thank you so much, David, for joining me. Congrats on all the incredible success in the last year. And we look forward to seeing your international expansion and the content that comes out in 2026. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed today's episode, whether on YouTube or your favorite podcast app, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, or give a 5-star review. And if you want to reach out or provide feedback, shoot us a note at podcast@navic.co or find us on Twitter and LinkedIn. Plus, if you want to learn more about what Navic has to offer, make sure to check out our website, www.navic.co. There, you can sign up for the #1 games industry newsletter, Navic Digest, or contact us to learn about our wide-ranging consulting and advisory services. Again, that is www.navic.co. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you in the next episode.